You're listening to the Ringside Report with AJ Styles, the phenomenal one.
What's going on, y'all? This is WWE superstar Kofi Kingston, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Daniel Bryan, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Christopher Daniels, and the Gospel According to the Fallen Angel says that you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Aw, yeah, welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon, he's Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website. We're here on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. YouTube.com/ringsidereport.net is the place you want to be after every WWE pay-per-view. Every Friday afternoon, Johnny and I go live. We talk about professional wrestling. We talk about Johnny's latest matches. Johnny reviews movies on Dave and Johnny Live every Friday afternoon. Be sure to check that out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport, DOTNET, ringsidereport.net on YouTube. And Johnny's got so much going on in his world. We can't fit it all on Wrestling Uncensored. That's why, sometimes it's just Johnny Live, just solo Johnny on the YouTube show, which it was a little bit this week.
Because you left to actually go get your shoes. So
yeah, I left to go get some shoes. I also do sneaker reviews. I got the new Yeezy 700 Inertias that we reviewed that you can see on our YouTube channel right now on the latest episode of Dave and Johnny Live. Every Friday afternoon, we go live about 12:30, 12:45.
Sure, everyone can tell how giddy you are about your shoes right now.
What do you mean?
Like the excitement when you talk about it.
Well, I love them. I'm a big sneaker enthusiast, okay? And I'm also a wrestling enthusiast. I think I'm as enthusiastic about... No, I think I'm more enthusiastic about wrestling than I am about sneakers. I think I like wrestling more than sneakers, which shows you how much I like wrestling. I watch a lot of professional wrestling, Johnny North. I watch the WWE. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to the night before WrestleMania, not because of the Hall of Fame. I'm looking forward to the night before WrestleMania because of the New Japan show that's going on at Madison Square Garden, just down the road from where WrestleMania will be at that MetLife Stadium. And I'm watching the New Japan Cup this week. And if you want to hear about that, also on Dave and Johnny Live. And also this week coming up on our iTunes and on the Wrestling Uncensored website, we'll have a new episode of What's Phantom in Japan? Myself and the Green Phantom talking about Japanese wrestling, talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. Everybody in Montreal knows the Green Phantom. You guys watched him tear the house down at the IWS show tonight. So, shout out to the Green Phantom, always kicking ass in the wrestling ring. And he does the Green Phantom, What's Phantom in Japan podcast with me, exclusively at WrestlingUncensored.net.
So who's winning the cup?
The New Japan Cup? I would say Kazuchika Okada. But we will find out tomorrow morning. The New Japan Cup finals going down tomorrow morning. And we'll find out who is the winner.
Yeah, I think Okada too, actually.
You're going with Okada?
Safe bet, I think.
That's right. Okada's always a safe bet. He's a great wrestler. A lot of people disillusioned with WrestleMania this year. I always tell disillusioned WWE fans, well, do you watch New Japan? Because, if you like pro wrestling and you want a good wrestling product, New Japan is doing some great stuff. And if you subscribe to New Japan World, which is only 999 yen a month, which comes out to about $10, you get a pretty good wrestling product. So, a lot of people disappointed with WrestleMania this year. There's a lot of great professional wrestling out there. I mentioned IWS doing a show here in Montreal, doing some great professional wrestling. Tajiri was here. Johnny North is doing a show every weekend. Johnny North has a show this coming weekend on Sunday, right? You're wrestling Sheldon Jean this Sunday.
A couple hours from now, yeah.
A couple hours from now. So there's wrestling everywhere. Ring of Honor, local indies here in Montreal, in Japan, all over the place. A lot of people see the WWE as the be-all and end-all of professional wrestling. It really isn't. It's the top promotion, without a doubt. It's the major leagues. But there are places now for wrestlers to make a very good living, like Japan, like this new All Elite Wrestling promotion that's coming up, which makes WWE still the major leagues, but maybe not so far ahead of that competition. So there's definitely competition out there in great wrestling outside of WWE and even inside of WWE, and we're going to talk about some of that here over the next hour, as we do on Wrestling Uncensored, mostly a WWE-based show, but, you know, I'm hearing a lot of people that are not happy with WrestleMania. Johnny, you're one of them. And I tell you, well, if you don't like it, change the channel. I know you like wrestling. Watch other wrestling, because there's very good wrestling all over the place. And you being a very good wrestler who doesn't wrestle inside the WWE, well, you're aware that there's good wrestling outside of the WWE, right?
Right, but for our fans and for you, for the whole Wrestling Uncensored universe, I will be watching WrestleMania because we're going to have a WrestleMania post-show, and I need to watch WrestleMania because of that. So I will be there watching it with you and more than likely AJ.
Nice. Tying it back into a plug, Johnny. That's what I like to hear. Of course, we'll be on right after WrestleMania. And yeah, it's true. We both watch a lot of WWE because of Wrestling Uncensored. I don't think we'd be watching as much of this stuff as we do, you know, every Raw, every SmackDown, every week, every little bit, every single pay-per-view, you know, if it were not for this show.
Imagine we could do more shows because there's just so much more WWE content.
Yes, we could do NXT shows. We could do NXT UK shows. We could do 205 live shows. We could do a lot. We could go back and watch old wrestling matches and review those. But if you want me to watch that much WWE, I think people are going to have to start paying for that, Johnny. That's the fundamental truth of it all. I'm not watching that much WWE unless you pay me.
Well,
it's too much. It's too much.
We got Raw and SmackDown this week. We got 2 weeks to WrestleMania. A lot happened this week. Maybe not great stuff happened, but eventful moments happened.
Yes. Kurt Angle announcing his WrestleMania opponent, I think, was the big story this week, saying that it will be Baron Corbin. He says, there are many people I'd love to face at WrestleMania, but only one man that I really want to beat. He was tormenting me while I was the Raw GM. Of course, neither Corbin or Angle are still in positions of power on Raw, but they're continuing that storyline for some reason. So Baron Corbin is the guy that Angle wants to face, and the fans boo. Kurt Angle then had a fantastic match with Chad Gable, which was a dream match for me. I really wanted to see those two go one-on-one. I thought the match was great. Angle beating Gable with the ankle lock. Baron Corbin shows up afterwards and says he's going to beat Angle at WrestleMania. Fans were chanting for John Cena. They wanted to see Cena there instead of Baron Corbin, and I think that's far more appropriate. Baron Corbin's just not that established of a professional wrestler. He's not a big name. He's not the type of guy you would expect to face Kurt Angle in his last match. Shawn Michaels wrestled The Undertaker in his last match. Ric Flair wrestled Shawn Michaels in his last match. You want to see a big send-off. Stone Cold, didn't he wrestle The Rock in his last match?
Well, technically he came back and wrestled on Raw as the GM, right? He wrestled Bischoff in those, 2 out of 3 things.
Right, but
his last real match, I guess, was The Rock. You could say that.
You want to see a nice send-off. And if it's going to be booked as Kurt Angle's farewell match, the opponent should be more important, should be a bigger name than Baron Corbin. He's just not the right guy for the spot.
The thing is, he's the guy that they have right now weekly on Raw. He's the guy that they're trying to push into a big star that you want to care about and buy pay-per-views for. He's the guy that beat Braun Strowman last pay-per-view. So they're trying to make Baron Corbin into a next big star. And I think by him beating Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, this was their way to make him into that next big John Cena-like star.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I know why they would want to make Baron Corbin into that next big star. They have so much talent. And this has been my thing about the WWE for years now. It's not that they don't have good wrestlers, is that they don't book their good wrestlers well. Like, they push the wrong guys, and the fact that they would go so hard on Baron Corbin is just clearly the wrong move. But for some reason, somebody in the WWE has this idea that Baron Corbin is going to be big for them. And at this point, it seems apparent that he won't be. I don't think he's going to be that next huge heel for whoever to face. I don't see it. He's not really taken seriously. Look at his ring gear. The dress pants and the dress shirt. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous looking. He is not the guy you want to face against Kurt Angle for his last match. It's just not good enough. John Cena would make sense. People were talking about big names, speculating who's going to be Angle's last opponent. It can't be a guy who's less important than the guys that Angle is facing on the way to the match. Like, Baron Corbin just lost to Apollo Crews this week on Raw, right?
He did.
Apollo Crews is better than Baron Corbin. He would be a better WrestleMania opponent for Kurt Angle than Baron Corbin. Chad Gable, same thing. All these guys are better, should be pushed, should be put in these better positions than Baron Corbin. The only thing Corbin has over those guys is height.
And they've wrestled Kurt already, too.
Yeah, but so what?
You want something fresh, you want something different.
He should wrestle them all in a gauntlet match, damn it. I really like gauntlet matches. Yeah.
What?
Vince would love a gauntlet match. He loves those things.
Yeah,
and they go on and on and on and on.
It's too much with gauntlet matches.
No more gauntlets.
Please. But I think what you want for a Kurt Angle match is someone that matches up with him well, or someone at least that has history with them that you care about. The whole GM storyline, like, that was nothing too memorable or special, and that died like 4 or 5 months ago. So,
well, that's it. It's like they were grasping to try and find a story to make it work, and they took this old story that no one even remembers about how Kurt Angle was the GM, and then Baron Corbin got close with the McMahons and became the assistant GM and eventually pushed Kurt Angle out. And then the McMahons just blamed all the failures of Raw on Baron Corbin for some reason, said he was the reason the ratings were bad. Remember when, was it Triple H who came out and cut this big promo about how, Raw's got to change, it's been terrible, and you know whose fault it is, and everybody's like, yeah, it's your fault, right? And he's like, no, it's Baron Corbin's fault, because on TV, he's the authority, so it's his fault, okay? It's not really us who's putting this terrible wrestling together. It's not my fault. It's not Vince's fault. It's Baron Corbin's fault. You believe that, right? And everybody was like, huh? Huh? So, yeah, they're bringing that back for some reason. But there are rumors now that WWE, because of the great backlash that everybody is putting on them because of the Baron Corbin choice, they may be rethinking it. May not be Baron after all. Might not be old Barry Corbin.
Well, who's it going to be now, though? Do we just go back?
John Cena.
Is it really
Can we get John Cena? What's John Cena doing? John Cena was supposed to be at WrestleMania wrestling Lars Sullivan, according to the internet, right?
Right.
That's what people were saying. Lars Sullivan, the angle never happened. It never worked out. So, as far as I know, John Cena was going to wrestle at Mania. Why can't he wrestle Kurt Angle?
I guess he could wrestle Kurt Angle. It's just, again, I said this, I think, for the last couple of weeks, it wouldn't be that great of a match. Both guys are both very old, very sluggish in the ring. You want someone who could carry Kurt Angle to a good match. John Cena, I don't think, can carry Kurt Angle to a good match now.
Like Chad Gable could.
Well, he's a great example, but they've done that already, unfortunately.
That was really good.
It was good.
Chad Gable's so good. Like, Chad Gable should be in a position like a Baron Corbin, and Baron Corbin should be in a position like a Chad Gable. Like, Chad Gable is way undervalued in the WWE. This guy's an Olympian. He's an incredible athlete. And every time he's in the ring, it's electric. This guy is an incredible talent, and WWE does nothing with him. I've been on the Chad Gable trade for years now. I've been telling you, Chad Gable is the future. And he is. If the WWE could figure it out. I mean, you saw that match with Kurt Angle. It was awesome.
It was good, but to be fair, they're not doing nothing with him. He was tag team champions for the last couple months.
Yeah, but that's because they had nothing else to do with the tag team titles. They want to do something with Bobby Roode. Like, I think they see something in Chad Gable, but they just can't figure out how to get him over. It's not that hard. Just have him win a couple matches. He'll be over. He's over. He's a good wrestler. He just loses too much.
Well, it happened with Daniel Bryan, too. He lost a lot, but he still got over. Chad Gable, it doesn't seem to work for him for whatever reason.
Yeah, but some guys get over despite the WWE, and that's what Daniel Bryan did. And some guys get over because WWE decides you're going to be over. And a lot of them don't actually get over with the fans when WWE decides, you are chosen. We are going to push you to the moon. You will be everything. And the fans are like, no, we're rejecting this. And that's what's happening with Baron Corbin. That's what happened with Roman Reigns for a long time. I think the tide is changing a little bit on Roman, but, we'll see.
Well, to be fair, I think Corbin is over. I think he gets some of the best heat on Raw. Regardless, that a lot of people just think it's like go-away heat.
It really is. It's like change the channel heat. He's boring. When he talks, I zone out. I don't even hear the words he's saying anymore. I just hear, I don't even hear it.
I think you need guys around like that you can't, for 1 second want to see on your TV. The Miz was like that for so long.
Yeah. He's a tune-out.
And he still kind of is. But they work, though, because you really want to see them lose.
No, but I don't. I don't want to see them. The Kurt Angle match was the match that I wanted to see at WrestleMania, right? We talked about it last week. I was like, finally, WrestleMania has a match that I want to see. Kurt Angle's last match is going to be important. I love Kurt Angle. He's a great wrestler. It's now a match that I want to tune out from because Baron Corbin is in it. It was the match I wanted to see, and it is now the match where I will step away from the TV and go do something else. Because it doesn't matter, because Baron Corbin's in it.
Well, I think it still does. It's Kurt Angle's last match. It still does matter. It's just you're not liking it because it's not the guy you want him to wrestle. That's it. It still matters, though.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because if Kurt Angle wins, okay, fine, he beat Baron Corbin in his last match. Who cares? And if Kurt Angle loses, it's like, oh my God, Baron Corbin just beat Kurt Angle in his last match? How sad. But it doesn't matter. I don't want to see it either way. I don't care either way. If it's John Cena, it's like, well, who's going to win here? And if John Cena wins, it's like, oh, John Cena, you bastard, you got him again. People are going to be so mad at John Cena, booing. It's going to be a moment, right? But if Kurt Angle wins, then it's this great moment where Cena goes down to Angle in Angle's last match. Yes, he's retiring, but he could still go. He just beat John Cena at WrestleMania. It's Kurt Angle, the great Kurt Angle. It means something. And the match quality, as far as Corbin and Cena, would be about the same. Of course, the match costs the WWE way more if you put John Cena in it, right? His paycheck is way bigger than Baron Corbin's, so maybe it's not worth it for the WWE in that respect. But as a Kurt Angle fan, I am disappointed.
Well, I feel with the Corbin, it means more because it meant something for Kurt to win that match because he really wanted to win that. With John Cena, it's just pride, really. I just want to win. That's it. There's no I really have to win. I have to really stick it to Baron Corbin. With John Cena, it's just, have a good match. That's it. If I win, I win. I lose, I lose.
Are you really telling me here that a match with Baron Corbin is more important, it has more weight than a match with John Cena?
I'm just explaining
Cena, whose career started facing off with Kurt Angle on SmackDown. John Cena, the greatest champion the WWE's ever had. Are you kidding me?
I'm just explaining to you how they saw it. How they were trying to build it up with Corbin Angle, because Angle lost to Corbin in the past.
How do you see it?
I see it as a match that's very underwhelming, unfortunately. It's not exactly...
And you'd rather Cena in that spot, would you not?
No, not really, no.
What?
Not John Cena.
What?
Not John Cena.
What?
I don't think it'd be that good. I'd rather Baron Corbin than John Cena.
How dare you? How dare you?
I'm just telling you the way I feel.
You're wrong. I can hear the Wrestling Uncensored universe now just screaming at their iPhones or their Google or their radios or however they're listening to this. Just screaming, Johnny North, what are you talking about? My brother's getting mad right now. I know he's listening. I know he's very mad with you.
Like, I was actually kind of happy. I'm like, well, at least it's not John Cena. Like, Corbin was a better option than John Cena. I honestly felt that way.
I'm going to hit you, John.
But we're not even going to get that, right? Because they're going to go with what people want, right? They're listening to people. It's not going to be Baron Corbin. Corbin's probably going to wrestle on Raw, and it'll be somebody else. It'll probably be someone like John Cena. I don't think it should be John Cena. I think we need someone who can give a better match to Kurt Angle.
Let me guess. Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens would be great. I think Shelton Benjamin's the best choice because of their history.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Kevin Owens, just because it's never been done before.
I just thought you were going to throw Kevin Owens in there because you always seem to crowbar Kevin Owens into whatever situation you can, you know.
Well, Kevin Owens should be on WrestleMania. I mean, there's no question about that. I don't think you would even disagree with that. He should have a match.
I think they should have waited to bring him back. I don't think he should be on TV.
I disagree.
Well, look what they're doing with him. They're doing nothing with him. He's got nothing going on. He had a KO show this week, and it was, on SmackDown, and he talked about Kofi Kingston having a big match and how he's got nothing really going on for WrestleMania, but, Becky and Charlotte do, and here's Becky and Charlotte, and KO cut a good promo there. It was entertaining. He was very good. He's like, no one gets under your skin like your former best friend. Believe me, I know, right? It was really good talking about Becky and Charlotte, but also himself with Sammy or Chris Jericho, right? So, the segment ended in a brawl between Becky and Charlotte. So they just used Kevin Owens as kind of the Alexa Bliss of SmackDown. He hosted an interview segment. He has nothing going on really for WrestleMania. At least Alexa Bliss is the host of WrestleMania, whatever that means. But we have Kevin Owens here with nothing going on. So they threw him into that match at Fastlane with Daniel Bryan.
Great match.
It made no sense, though.
Best match on the show.
Yeah, it was a great match, but it wound up being a triple threat, right? It wasn't even Kevin Owens one-on-one. He'd been out for months with an injury. He comes back. He's supposed to be a babyface, but he replaces Kofi in the match, so everybody's mad, right?
Yeah, it made no sense.
Makes no sense. He has this match. It's great. And then he's just not in any kind of feud with anybody, not doing anything. Has these little interview segments, still has nothing booked for WrestleMania. They should have waited to bring him back until the night after WrestleMania, or even wait for the draft, which will be in his hometown of Montreal, where he'd get a huge ovation. They should have done way more with Kevin Owens than they are currently doing. They missed the boat big time on the KO return. They screwed it up because they rushed it, because they don't know what they're doing with Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. They didn't know who Bryan was going to wrestle at Mania. They had no clue, so they rushed in Kevin Owens to replace Kofi Kingston at Fastlane because they want to delay this Kofi Kingston thing for some reason. Meanwhile, Kevin Owens gets totally screwed in his return. And of course, we love Kevin Owens here in Montreal, But everybody loves Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is a fantastic wrestler. He's a great promo. He's got a hell of a Stone Cold Stunner. Kevin Owens is everything you'd want in a top WWE superstar. And they're not giving it to us. And Kevin Owens right now for WrestleMania, he's got nothing. I thought he might wrestle Samoa Joe for the U.S. title, but that's not happening because Rey Mysterio announced this week that he's wrestling Samoa Joe for the U.S. title with his son Dominic at ringside. Dominic, all grown up, bigger than Rey, which is crazy because the last time we saw him on TV, he was, doing that storyline with Eddie Guerrero, I'm your papi, that whole thing. And Dominic was a little kid, and now he's all grown up. Apparently he wants to be a wrestler, so that's why we're seeing him on TV.
Doesn't look like he'll be like Rey, though. He's kind of too big.
Oh, who knows? You never know. Anyways, Rey Mysterio's getting Samoa Joe for the U.S. title, not Kevin Owens. So what does Kevin Owens do? I guess he's just in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal this year.
It should be something better than that. I mean, he has a talk show, right? He can always challenge someone to WrestleMania. It's supposed to be like 17 matches, right? We only have like 10 matches announced so far. There should be a spot available, no? There's a lot of guys not with a match at WrestleMania so far. I don't see why they can't give Kevin a match.
Against who?
It's tough right now. It's really tough.
Samoa Joe was the last best option.
Yeah, that would have been great. Well, a returning Bray Wyatt can always work.
He's returning?
Well, if he comes back, he returns, right?
We're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. There are 2 weeks of TV left before the big show.
And he got a WWE title match in 2 weeks, so you can always make something out of nothing. They've done it before.
Does Kevin Owens somehow find himself in a triple threat with Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston?
It's still not impossible, right? Because that match is not set in stone, Kofi versus Daniel Bryan, especially after what happened in the Gauntlet.
Yeah. People are worried about that.
I wouldn't be worried, but...
I would not be worried either. People asking me questions this week. Do you think Kofi's still going to be Daniel Bryan's opponent at Mania after what happened on SmackDown? Yes. Yes! Yes! Yes, I do. Kofi Kingston wrestled the Gauntlet this week on SmackDown. He had to wrestle many guys. First was Sheamus. He beat Sheamus. Then he beat Cesaro. Then he beat Rowan by disqualification when Rowan did that head choke slam thing into the announce table. That was pretty nasty.
Oh, no, he used the chair, then the table, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Was it a chair first that caused a disqualification?
Then the table, yeah.
Okay. And then Samoa Joe came out, and Kofi was all beat up, and Joe gets rolled up by Kofi somehow. And then Randy shows up. It's Randy Orton. And after the Joe match, Joe choked Kofi out, right? He hit him with his chokehold, and he choked Kofi out. So Kofi's been through the ringer, right? He's been in a match with Sheamus, a match with Cesaro, hit with a chair, put through a table, choked unconscious, and now he has to wrestle Randy Orton. And Randy's just beating him around, and then somehow Kofi rolls Randy up and beats him. So Kofi wins the Gauntlet, and he's going on to face Daniel Bryan for the WWE title at WrestleMania. Until Vince McMahon shows up. No chance in hell. Hey, pal, it's me, Vince. You're going to WrestleMania, but you got to face one more guy. Daniel Bryan. And then Daniel Bryan comes out, and he hits Kofi Kingston with a running knee. Boom! 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring. Daniel Bryan defeats Kofi Kingston just the way it would be at WrestleMania. And Kofi's not going to WrestleMania now because he didn't win the Gauntlet because he didn't complete it. Couldn't beat Daniel Bryan. I don't get why they're delaying it. I assume Kofi will get the match against Daniel Bryan. They delayed the Becky thing for so long. It took so long for the match to eventually happen that you knew was going to happen. Becky, Charlotte, Ronda was the match we were telling you months ago was going to happen, but we only found out officially like 2 weeks ago, right, at Fastlane. We know it's going to be Kofi and Bryan. We've known this for at least 6 weeks. But for some reason, they're delaying it. And I don't think it's a good idea. I'd rather see the build between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan is suffering big time. He's not able to cut the promos that he should be cutting on Kofi Kingston about waste. You know? The wasting of food, the gimmicks that they sell, the images that they're portraying. There's a lot of good stuff there between Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston and the New Day. And they're not really able to get to that feud because it's less about Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston and more about Kofi Kingston versus Vince McMahon and the corporate machine that is the WWE. And Daniel Bryan doesn't really represent that corporate machine that is the WWE. So they're really confusing this storyline. You know, Daniel Bryan is telling you not to buy merch from WWE Shop, not to buy concessions, not to eat meat, not to buy the collector cups, not to waste things. He's very anti-money, anti-corporate, right? Kofi Kingston is being beat down by Vince McMahon, who owns the company. So the storyline is very confusing because on the one hand you have this Daniel Bryan who you hate because he tells you not to buy WWE stuff and line their pockets. And then you have Kofi Kingston who you like, who's fighting against the WWE. See the lack of logic here? Doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Well, I pose this to you. Who made the title for Daniel Bryan?
Rowan.
Okay, well, I think Vince did. They can say whatever they want.
Daniel Bryan made it himself.
Right, yeah, sure. Either way, Vince did it. You know he did. He did it for Daniel Bryan because he is his champion. And unlike Kofi...
Yeah, Vince is like aligning himself with Daniel Bryan, too. It's really weird. Because a lot of the stuff that was part of Daniel Bryan's gimmick is against what Vince would be about. As he's said many times, it's all about the money. And Daniel Bryan's telling you not to buy his T-shirt. So there's a disconnect.
Well, Daniel Bryan's a hypocrite. That's all it is.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
But that makes him a great villain.
But is he a hypocrite? Because he's still telling you not to buy the stuff.
Yeah,
I think Vince McMahon is the hypocrite.
Well, Vince just makes everything more important, right? When Vince is around, it just makes it seem like this is a big deal. You should care about this. This almost feels like this is going to be the main event of WrestleMania because Vince McMahon is around.
I think the main point is that all this Vince versus New Day is delaying a build for Bryan versus Kofi, which we should have. And now we're 2 weeks out. They have 2 more weeks to do it, and the match is still not official. I think that they should have just had Kofi win. At the end of the gauntlet, Kofi wins. No Daniel Bryan. Kofi's going to WrestleMania. Vince tried to stack the deck against him. It didn't work. Kofi won. And now you have 2 weeks of TV where you can run a couple promos between Kofi and Bryan trying to build this match at WrestleMania. But instead, we're going to have to still find a way to get Kofi into this match on Tuesday night on SmackDown, which is, it's not good. You know, we're delaying the build for the match, and I think what it means ultimately is that Kofi will lose at WrestleMania. He'll either get the match at Mania or still not get the match at Mania, get screwed out of it. Vince will give it to someone else, and it'll just delay the Kofi-Bryan stuff. I think Kofi and Bryan are going to wind up wrestling for the next few pay-per-views. I don't think WrestleMania will be the last one. We're going to see rematches. Everybody knows after WrestleMania, the next pay-per-view they do is usually just all rematches from WrestleMania. And I think the Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan thing definitely continues, and maybe we see more of a feud between those two guys as opposed to Kofi versus Vince after Mania. Because right now, it's clear we're not getting it. I think Kofi's going to get the match, but the promos and the build between Kofi and Bryan, between those two guys who are actually in the match, I think will probably happen for the next match at this point. Which sucks, because it's Mania, It's supposed to be the big one, but it's not working out that way.
Well, it's kind of like if last year with AJ Styles Nakamura, their feud started at WrestleMania and then they went 2-3 pay-per-views afterwards. So this isn't the first time we've seen something like this. And then it really kicked off because Nakamura turned heel at WrestleMania. So I think with Kofi and Bryan, yeah, this is really where it's going to start, their first match, but the feud really gets going afterwards. However, I feel maybe you can really get it going with a title change at WrestleMania. That could really spark something and get people talking.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Bryan's belt too much. I don't want Bryan to lose a championship.
Yeah, I see that, but I also see that, man, Kofi is over right now. Like, might be the time to do it.
Kofi is definitely the focus of SmackDown. I don't know if you noticed, but all the baby faces, when they cut promos, mentioned Kofi Kingston.
AJ did it. They had everyone in the locker room watching the match.
Miz cut a promo to start SmackDown, talked about Shane McMahon, and he said he's rotten just like Vince and the rest of the McMahons. He's like, WWE might own me, but they might own the McMahons might own the company, but they don't own me. That's what he said. And he's like, and they don't own Kofi Kingston. I was like, oh boy. Miz using Kofi Kingston to get a cheap pop for himself. That was a terrible promo by The Miz, by the way. I did not like it.
He's doing what he can to try to get over as a face because he's not a very likable person, so he's trying. But he's failing.
Yeah, Miz is like, I might not be liked, but I should be respected because I work really hard. Like, does Miz understand what hard work is in professional wrestling? Because, like, okay, he may travel and do a lot of media, but, like, in the ring, are you working hard? Like, is he really working hard in the ring? And if he is, well, man, if that's your definition of hard work in the ring, like, step your game up, man. Like, Daniel Bryan explained it very well. The guy has a soft style. Doesn't work hard.
Well, in his eyes, that's hard, but...
Yeah, well, you see it. You're a wrestler.
Miz isn't great, but I think people have known that for years, but longevity. He's been there for a long time. He's reliable. That's his strengths, and he plays to them very well.
I can't wait till Shane McMahon punches him in the face at WrestleMania. I'm Team Shane on this one, big time.
Well, I just like it because Shane's the heel, so he's going to do some dastardly deeds.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
I hope so.
I mean, it probably won't be good.
Well,
but Shane is like reckless.
Yep.
And violent. He'll hit you hard, and because Shane wants you to hit him back. Like Shane wants to go.
Miz isn't going to hit back though.
No, but that's the thing. Like Shane's going to push him. I think it'll be interesting to see how Miz reacts to Shane's potato punches.
Shane matches go one or two ways. It's either going to be really good or it's going to be like, man, that was horrible.
Could be a total mess. His match with AJ Styles a couple years ago at WrestleMania stole the show.
It was, but him and The Miz teaming, not the greatest matches in the world.
No, they've been not great. How does a WWE figure out a way to get Kofi in this match, though? Like, at this point, they've done everything to try and stop him. They've done, so much with Kofi to avoid getting him in this match. What do they do to finally get Vince to say, okay, damn it, you have the match? Like, what do they do? At this point, like, Kofi beat all of SmackDown's top guys, and it still wasn't enough. So, what are they going to do to get Kofi in this?
Some sort of trickery would work. They have a match set up, maybe like a battle royal. You put like a mask guy in there. It's Kofi. Something like that.
Wouldn't it be awesome if Vince is just like, I just don't see it with Kofi, but you're so big and muscular. I really think you've got what it takes. I want to put you in the match against Daniel Bryan. And then E takes the match, and then it's like a whole thing.
Again, I can see this later on as the story progresses with Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, but I think just getting to the match, that's it right now. I think other stuff with New Day possibly breaking up, that'll be later, I think.
But it was such a clear path to the match that they had on SmackDown. The fact that they deviated from that, it really makes you wonder, like, what the hell are they doing? What are they doing?
I think they have a good idea of how they're going to get there at this point. Because they know what they want, right? So hopefully by now they figure that out. You would think.
But I'm kind of over, how are they going to get there? I just want them to get there because I assume that they're going to get there, right? Like with Becky and Ronda and Charlotte, I assumed that was going to be the match at WrestleMania. I just wanted them to get on with it and announce it already. Stop with this whole story like, will they or won't they? You know they will. Just do it. And they're delaying it too much. It's drawn out a little too much with this Kofi Kingston thing. So, elsewhere we have Braun Strowman. We know what he's doing at WrestleMania. Still a lot of question marks. But a couple matches that are not official that I think will be made official in the next week or so. We'll get to those when we come back. Also, Brock Lesnar was on Raw. We'll tell you what he did. He's got a big title defense coming up at WrestleMania. It is Wrestling Uncensored here on TSN 690.
Hey, this is Antonio Cesaro, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Brett the Hitman Hart, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Aaron Schick, and you listen to the Wrestling Uncensored.
All right, welcome back. It's Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He's Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website here on TSN 690 every Saturday night, talking professional wrestling. YouTube.com/RingsideReport.net is the YouTube channel. Go there, subscribe, drop a comment, drop a like. Helps us a lot for the YouTube algorithms. Johnny knows all about the algorithms.
Mainly subscribe is going to help us the most.
Comments too, apparently.
Yeah, comments and likes, it's all good. But
No, that helps. It gets the YouTube, more comments.
More publicity.
YouTube recommends your video more if you have more comments. So comments. Comment on our videos. I mean, positive comments. Don't say anything out of line, YouTube.com/RingsideReport.net. Braun Strowman was on Raw this week, teaming with Finn Balor. He beat Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush after a Braun power slam on Rush. I thought that match was pretty good. Man, Lio Rush taking those Beals from Braun Strowman. He went flying across the ring. Lio Rush is incredible. This guy is another guy undervalued by the WWE, I think. Maybe not. I mean, they do give him a decent spot, but maybe by the fans. I don't know if WWE fans are really giving this guy his just due. He was a very sympathetic character when he was gone, separated from Bobby Lashley. He was a sympathetic babyface for 1 week against Finn Balor. It was really good. And then, he's been this really annoying heel manager. He can play both sides, a heel and babyface, very well. He can move like crazy, is extremely athletic. He takes crazy bumps. Lio Rush is very, very good. And I think WWE eventually is going to do more with him because he's money. Everything he's doing is very entertaining, and him and Braun Strowman was a lot of fun to watch.
I still think he's a better heel than a sympathetic babyface because I think it's a lot more fun to watch him get beat up than to see him give a beating.
I don't know about that. His moves are pretty good. Remember when Kevin Owens was feuding with Bobby Lashley and Owens was chasing Lio Rush and Lio was dodging him and flying around? That was cool stuff. That's good babyface moves.
It's dodging, though. It's not great offensive moves. It's
no, but eventually he hits you with something. He's like Ricochet.
I wouldn't say he's Ricochet.
Well, he's not quite Ricochet, but it's a similar style. He's pretty athletic, Lio Rush. He does some crazy stuff. I'm impressed with him. I like Lio Rush. He took the fall, of course, to Braun Strowman. And Braun Strowman announces he's going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Johnny, you expect him to win that thing? I don't know. Maybe.
Who else is going to win that?
It's just disappointing. Braun Strowman at one time was a big star in this company, and they seem to have demoted him tremendously from, main event to one of the opening matches. This might be on the pre-show.
Well, what do you want? Like, he couldn't beat Brock. They gave him a match with Brock again, and they took it away from him. Like, he kind of plateaued. Like, yeah, you're main event, but you're not championship material, pretty much. B-plus player as well, Braun Strowman.
Wow. Is that your assessment of him, really, though?
I mean, if you look at it, I think he's better than that. I think they should have gave him the title when they had the Hell in a Cell match with him and Roman. They dropped the ball, but that's what they decided to do.
It does feel like Braun Strowman's never going to get to that next level.
Sad.
I mean, last year he was teaming with a child to win the tag team titles at WrestleMania. This year, he's feuding with the Saturday Night Live guys and in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Like, he's around, but they're not making him a main event star. Once in a while, they'll put him in a main event or two. He's kind of like a new Big Show.
Well, some would say him hanging around with celebrities, it's still going to make him a big deal in a sense.
Kind of like what Big Show used to do.
Yeah.
Aki Bono, Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, it got some press, right?
Sure. But Big Show was never a long-reigning champion. And Braun Strowman doesn't look like he will be either.
Well, it's just he's got his role pretty much. I don't think he's sad with it. I think he actually enjoys what he's doing. It's not a bad spot he has. He's not the guy. That's it.
Who would you rather be, Braun Strowman or Seth Rollins?
I think Braun.
No, but not as a human being. Not whose spot would you rather have at WrestleMania this year?
Oh yeah, Seth, of course. Yeah. Yeah, main event, obviously.
Whose spot would you rather have at all of the WrestleManias that Braun and Seth have participated in?
I guess Brock?
No, Braun or Seth.
Oh.
Like, you look at Braun's WrestleMania career compared to Seth. Whose WrestleMania career do you want?
Seth, obviously. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the point with Braun Strowman. You would think maybe he'd be on that level. He'd get to that spot where he'd be a big main event level star, but he's not.
That's what they decided, unfortunately.
Upper mid card. That's just the way they're going with him. Elias is still around. He was the guest on Moment of Bliss. Alexa Bliss announcing she will be the host of WrestleMania, whatever that means. Alexa Bliss went from being the Charlotte of Raw to the Mandy Rose of Raw. I don't understand the deal with Alexa's character. She's like flirting with every guest she has. EC3, Finn Balor, Elias. She's like flirting with him. I don't understand this gimmick with Alexa Bliss. I don't know why they're doing it to her.
It gives her something to do, pretty much.
It's ridiculous. Then No Way Jose showed up, and Elias wrestled No Way Jose. That should never be on Raw. What was that?
Yeah, it was kind of a sloppy match. Not well put together whatsoever.
Terrible.
Well, they're not very good wrestlers, Elias and No Way Jose.
No, they're really not. They are really not. You know who are good wrestlers? Sasha Banks and Bayley. They are fantastic. They are the first ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Boss and Hug Connection. They say they're going to go to Smackdown to confront the Iconics. They did, and they wound up losing to the Iconics on Smackdown, which is pretty big for the Iconics to win in a non-title match here against the champions.
Well, I think the Iconics kind of needed it because they were going nowhere. They aren't really taken seriously whatsoever. So them getting that win, albeit there was a bit of interference because Lacey Evans came out.
Right.
So it wasn't completely clean, but still.
Well, also Peyton was outside the ring and held Sasha's leg down while Billy was pinning her. So it was they cheated to win.
Right.
But they still won, and I think that'll put them in a fatal four-way at WrestleMania for the tag team titles. I think it's going to be Sasha and Bayley defending against the Iconics because they just won this match, defending against Nia and Tamina because they're in the mix, defending against Natty and Natalya, Natty Neidhart, and Beth Phoenix, who were on Raw this week, and Beth Phoenix looking in top shape. She is back. I don't know if she's back just for Mania or what, But Natty and Beth Phoenix showed up, interrupting Sasha and Bayley's interview there in the ring on Raw. Beth says her career was great, but there's one thing missing. She wants the tag team titles with Natty, challenges him to a match at Mania, and then Bayley asks Beth if maybe she wants more time to prepare. You know, she's not ready. It's 3 weeks before Mania. You know, a lot has changed since you've been gone, Beth. And then Natty's like, this is Beth Phoenix you're talking about. She's a Hall of Famer. She's not scared of facing somebody like you. And then Sasha gets mad, and she's like, all right, fine, let's go. We'll wrestle at Mania. And then Natty winds up smacking Sasha, and Sasha jumps on Natty. And then Beth pulls her off, and Bayley and Beth get into it a little bit. It was good stuff. And then you had Natty versus Sasha Banks that ended in a no contest when Nia Jax shows up, starts cutting a promo, and then Tamina attacks Beth and Sasha. So all those teams are involved in it. I like what I'm seeing. I'm really happy to see Beth Phoenix back. She's one of my all-time favorites. She's a great wrestler. I think it's fantastic that she's back in the WWE. I'm really excited about this. And I feel like people aren't excited enough. This is Beth Phoenix we're talking about. The Glamazon. The glamorous Amazon. She's fantastic. I mean, if she's anywhere near what she used to be, this is going to be great. And if she's back like full time, man, give her and Natty the belts. Let's go.
Well, I think it's hard for people to get behind her because she was around in an era where there wasn't a lot of competition, really.
Yeah, but she was the top. Like, no one could touch her when she was around.
And she was a heel.
Yeah, and she was great. You know, she made that division. She carried that division. And now that she has people other than Natty and Michelle McCool and Layla to work with, I mean, there's so much that Beth could do. Beth didn't retire because she was beat up. She retired because she wanted to do other things. But if she wants to come back and wrestle, great. You know, she started a family. She's got kids now. Married to the great rated R superstar, Edge. You know, so that also adds to Beth Phoenix's cool factor. You know, she's married to Edge, who's just awesome.
Yeah, that's cool, but, you know, Edge isn't coming back. It's Beth Phoenix, so.
Oh, this is the next best thing. It's almost like Edge is coming back.
They're not.
She's the mother of Edge's children.
They're not the same in terms of the character, in terms of the wrestling. It's completely different. Not in a bad way, but it's just
No, but
different.
I'm happy for Beth Phoenix, and I'm happy for Edge. I'm sure he's pleased to see his wife back in the ring.
I'm sure he's actually probably going to watch WrestleMania now because of that.
Of course he's going to watch WrestleMania to see Beth Phoenix. He's probably going to be there. I mean, he's definitely going to be there. He'll probably be front row with his daughters, watching their mother. Tremendous. I love it. So happy to see Beth Phoenix back. Her and Natty, big fan. Couldn't be a bigger fan of Natty, Neidhart, and Beth Phoenix. You know me. I'm a huge fan of all the Hearts. I'm a big, you know, as are you.
Right. I'm just concerned about the match, though. I mean, a four-way, I just feel it could get kind of sloppy. I wonder if they're going to play where it's just two teams at a time. But if it's going to be all the teams, like with one member of each team at the same time, that could get really messy.
It could. And that match not official yet, but I think they are headed in that direction.
I think so.
Seems likely, right? How about Mojo Rawley? He can't figure it out.
He likes to look in a mirror.
What are these promos? Are they ever going to end? Or are they just going to end and nothing will happen? It's bizarre. Mojo just sitting in a mirror. Why can't you figure it out? Figure it out! It's really weird. Really weird. Ricochet beating Jinder Mahal this week on Raw. I enjoyed that. Ronda Rousey squashed Dana Brooke. That was a pretty cool whole melee there with Ronda Rousey. Destroys Dana, puts her in an armbar, does not let go of the armbar. The referees come to stop her. Ronda pushes a ref. Ronda goes to see her husband, Travis Brown, who's a former UFC fighter. He's ringside a lot. And then security goes to Ronda, and Ronda winds up attacking a security guard, and then another security guard grabs Ronda to take her off, And Travis Brown grabs that security guard and hits him, punches him right in the face. And then Ronda stands in front of Travis, who's still behind the barricade, kind of daring any of the security to try and come and mess with them. And really, Travis Brown's like 6'7", a former UFC heavyweight. Ronda Rousey's one of the baddest ladies on the planet. 5 or 6 security guards and referees, they really don't stand a chance. So I like that moment. That was cool. And the crazy part was when Travis Brown just picks up Ronda like she's this tiny little person and just brings her down. It's like a man picking up a little pit bull, like she's really mad, but like, oh, I'm going to pick you up. I'm just going to place you here. It was kind of weird to see Ronda just kind of manhandled like that by this giant dude. And she was totally cool with it. But she stayed angry. Like, she kept angry face the whole time. Like, as she's being lifted in the air and brought behind the barricade, she's, like, still mean face staring down to security. It was weird. It was weird the way he just kind of picked her up and brought her there. I don't know. And then they left. And then they went backstage. They walked away. It was cool.
It was cool, but now they're saying that Travis Brown is banned from Raw. That he can't go there anymore.
Yeah, okay. So he's going to show up?
Well, if he shows up, it's not going to be, like, planned, right?
I just wonder if Cain Velasquez is watching Raw.
Well, why? Like,
well, because he sees all these guys he beat up acting like tough guys, I wonder if he's watching Raw like Brock Lesnar.
I noticed
Travis Brown. I whooped those guys' asses.
I noticed that
Cain Velasquez beat both those guys severely, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, man, I wonder if I was watching Raw, seeing Travis Brown there and Brock Lesnar. I was like, man, what do Travis Brown and Brock Lesnar have in common? Oh, yeah, they both got their ass whooped by Cain Velasquez, who's been at the NXT Performance Center. And I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there once again, if Cain showed up, he'd have some pretty good promos right off the bat. Hey, Travis Brown, remember when I knocked you out? Yeah, cool. Hey, Brock Lesnar, remember when I knocked you out? Yeah, cool. Want to do it again? I don't think so. I'm just saying. I want to see Cain Velasquez in pro wrestling. That last Ngannou fight, it wasn't so good, Let's go.
I understand that, but doesn't Cyborg also want a piece of Ronda?
Yeah, Cyborg's talking a lot of trash. I could see Cyborg being in Becky Lynch's corner at WrestleMania. Which could turn very ugly because Cyborg and Ronda, they have heat in a real fighting world, not in a pro wrestling world. So if Cyborg and Ronda decide to go at it, they're not going to work. It's going to be a shoot, and it could get very ugly for Ronda very fast. Ronda would get beat up, I think, pretty bad.
Well, I don't think Cyborg's going to be there because they don't want to hurt Ronda in that capacity.
I think... if WWE said, hey, Ronda, is it cool if Cyborg shows up? She'd be like, no, it's not cool if Cyborg shows up. Hey, Ronda, is it cool if we have Misha Tate there? No, it's not cool if you have Misha Tate there. Ronda will fight them on site. Well, she'll fight Misha Tate because she knows she'll win. I don't know if she'll fight Cyborg. That's a tough one.
Well, I think she's okay against Charlotte and Becky, though.
Oh, yeah, Charlotte and Becky is no problem. She'll show up to fight them. She'll be there at WrestleMania. That'll be fun. I think she's going to rough them up. Ronda's been rough. She was rough on Dana this week on Raw. Rough stuff. I'm looking forward to that match. That's the match I want to see. Triple H versus Batista? Not the match I want to see, but I thought Batista cut a very good promo this week via satellite being interviewed by Michael Cole, saying Triple H used him to be his muscle and treated him like a meathead, and he talked down to him. Batista saying he left WWE because Triple H held him down and didn't think he was a big enough star. And then he left WWE and became a movie star, and now he can call his own shots. There's a lot of real stuff there from Dave Batista. I thought it was good.
I just found it weird because isn't he supposed to be the heel? I felt very sympathetic towards Dave Batista. Where it's like, Triple H is a jerk. Like, I hope you kick his ass.
Well, you had Michael Cole trying to be the babyface announcer saying, well, Triple H has always treated me fairly, Dave Batista. Well, what's your problem? Why are you so angry? And Batista's like, are you kidding? Triple H is the most insecure. This is a direct quote from Batista. It says Triple H is the most insecure, jealous, selfish, control freak he's ever met. And one day, hopefully soon, Vince is going to wake up and fire Triple H and end his professional career. And at WrestleMania, I'm going to end his in-ring career. Boom, roasted. I mean, that was awesome.
I wish that was true.
It was good. It was a good promo.
It was good because I think he just spoke from the heart pretty much with a lot of it. He kind of really feels that way.
It felt very much like Batista, the animal unleashed, you know? Like they allowed him to kind of say whatever he wanted. Batista went full Ronda on that promo. Well, maybe not full Ronda, but he went at least, half a Ronda.
Well, he's still doing the gimmick because he's
never go full Ronda.
He's still in the chair and all that. He's still like, why do I have to be here kind of thing, get out of my face. He's still like that. So it's not completely like...
Yeah. He did more on Raw than Brock Lesnar did.
Did he? I thought Brock did a lot.
Batista, via satellite, not even in the building, did more on Raw. Batista spoke.
Yeah, but Brock came out twice.
So Brock stood around while Paul Heyman spoke, right? They started the show. Heyman talked about Seth Rollins. Drew McIntyre showed up for some reason, and he's like, I'm going to take out Seth Rollins tonight, and then there'll be nothing left of him for WrestleMania. And I was like, all right, what are you telling Brock this for? What does Brock care? Fine, good for you, Drew McIntyre. Bravo, sucker, get out of my face. And then Seth Rollins attacked Drew from behind with a steel chair and just beat him with a steel chair pretty good. And Brock kind of smiled that he looked impressed with Seth's violence. He was like, oh, that's pretty good. That's like a beating that I would give. Good stuff, Seth, He looked kind of impressed with Seth. Seth jumps into the ring. Brock jumps out. Brock's kind of laughing like, oh, you really hit him with a chair. That was awesome. And then Seth looks like he's happy that Brock is impressed with him. And Seth kind of starts smiling and laughing at Brock. That was just weird, They were both kind of enjoying the beating that Seth had given to Drew McIntyre, and they were both kind of looking at each other like, yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that was cool. Seth earned Brock's respect with that beating that he gave Drew, so Brock was kind of looking at him like, yeah, that's cool. And then Seth seemed happy that Brock had respected him in that moment. He was like, oh, cool, Brock likes me. Hey, Brock, yeah, it's cool, right? Yeah. Did I gain your respect here, Brock? He seemed very much like the kid trying to get the respect of the Brock.
Well, also, so the beating at WrestleMania isn't going to be as severe now because he earned his respect. So.
Yeah, because he showed that, he's willing to go crazy if Brock goes crazy on him.
Right.
If you do this to me, Brock, I'm going to hit you with a chair 1,000,000 times, okay? So be careful with me. Don't kill me at WrestleMania, Brock, because I'll hit you back. I'm not scared to hit big guys like Drew McIntyre. That was pretty much it. I like Brock's face, though. Brock was like, oh, that was pretty good. I like that. Brock just likes to see people get hit. That guy's sadistic. I love him. You got to love Brock Lesnar. And then it was Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins in the main event. And Seth winds up losing because Brock Lesnar just showed up on the stage. Brock shows up on the stage, just stands there. His music plays. Drew McIntyre hits Seth, who was distracted with his Claymore kick, and then pins him. And that was it. That's all Brock did. So Brock did nothing. He stood there, he laughed, he walked around the ring, he stood around, and then he stood on the stage. He didn't talk, he didn't attack anyone, he didn't wrestle, he did very little. At least Batista cut a promo. Brock gets Paul Heyman to cut the same promo for him every time. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am the advocate for the reigning, defending, undisputed, universal heavyweight champion, Brock Lesnar. Every single time. And it takes him about 5 minutes to get to that, right? The crowd, and he's just looking around, and they're just standing there, and then eventually he does his little thing. And then he's like, and at WrestleMania, Seth Rollins. And it's like, all right, Heyman, I get it. People say Heyman's the greatest manager of all time. Heyman's good and all, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling his promos lately. They've been kind of stale for a while. Bobby Heenan always kept it fresh.
I think Bobby was funnier than
Way
Heyman.
Funnier. Heyman's not really a comedic manager, though, but I don't know.
But yeah, that's it. He's a bit more sadistic, Paul. So.
Yeah. It's kind of boring, though. It's the same thing every time.
It's getting to that point, but he's had some really good ones, though, that stood out a lot.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he's doing a lot of the promos for Ronda now, right? So
is he? Is that the word? Well, that's what Becky said.
Yeah, exactly. I said it before, and I think Becky figured it out too.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Becky tweeted out a picture of like Paul Heyman telling Ronda Rousey, "You say that they don't tell you what to say. Okay, they don't tell me what to say." It's just great. It was great. All right, Johnny North. We're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. We're running out of time here on Wrestling Uncensored. When can people see you in the ring?
It's going to be tomorrow, 2 p.m., 4325 Industrial Boulevard. I'm going to be wrestling Sheldon Jean, defending the British Commonwealth Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, yeah, another title defense for Johnny North happening, and still champion Big Johnny tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon. Go check him out for more on that. At North Genesis on Twitter, at Genesis Johnny North on Instagram. You could follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website. We're going to be dropping a new episode of What's Phantom in Japan with the Green Phantom this week on the website, so check that out. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport, DOTNET. After every WWE pay-per-view, we are there doing a live YouTube show, and every Friday at around 12:30, Dave and Johnny live. Johnny and I are live on YouTube every Friday talking wrestling, talking movies, talking all sorts of different stuff on Dave and Johnny Live. Big thanks to Jimmy and Marco for helping us out back at TSN 690, and a thanks to you for listening. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah.
Yeah.